Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Mother-in-Law Stories. It's great when your mother-in-law is willing to help with your kids with no strings attached. However, when there are strings attached, it just sucks. Disclaimer, this post is pre-bug, pre-lockdown. This one's from user, it's Leviosa. Me, 30 female, with my husband, 30 male, aren't sure what to do about my mother-in-law, 50s female. We've been having a bit of trouble with my mother-in-law since the birth of my son, 2 male. To lay the base, my mother-in-law runs an in-home licensed daycare. She keeps it small with a narrow age range because that's what she's comfortable with. She currently has 4 children, 1 at half day, other than my son that visit. She hasn't had more than 4 children in her daycare since I've known my husband. They are all between the ages of 2 and 6. When I was pregnant with my son, my mother-in-law kept telling us and everyone at any chance that she got how fortunate we were to have her around because we would get free daycare. It was a nice thought, and I appreciated that she seemed like she would always be there for us to help out. I also have a mother and 3 sisters, all of who are nannies by the way. After my son was born, we only got 2 visits during the newborn period from her. Despite her living 20 minutes away, she said that this was because I had family around that would help, so she didn't think we needed her. When she did visit, instead of bringing food, helping clean, or watching the baby so we could rest, all she and my father-in-law wanted to do was play board game with us. I found it odd and exhausting, but accepted it as part of her quirks. I was just happy that she was around. As my son got older, it was made aware that my mother-in-law is not at all comfortable with newborns. She didn't want to watch him without one of us around, which, again, was fine. But she sure did judge every call we made in regards to our son. We were burping him too hard. You'll make his heart stop. That even went as far as her asking what certifications the nurses had who told us that we were in fact burping correctly. She even called my mother to tattle on me for propping a bottle for him because that's not up to daycare standards. Then, at any family gathering we attended, she would literally just come up and snatch my son from my arms and hold him so everyone could see her holding him. Again, whatever. It's her thing, I guess. I was just really annoyed that she would just snatch him without asking or even signaling that she wanted him. But I wasn't going to make a fight over her wanting to hold my son. I feel now that she's been getting more and more controlling as the years have gone by. My mother-in-law has begrudgingly watched my son on the odd day that I need to get something done. I'm a stay-at-home. It was never my plan, but just kinda happened. Starting at about 1.5 with little consistency, like once a week, sometimes twice. Then it morphed into if he stays, I should stay to help her out. Basically, it's turned into me being her unpaid assistant whenever my son is in daycare. You'd think that with how she often says what a huge favor she's doing for us when she watches him, that he's a bad kid or spoiled or something. He really isn't. He's intelligent and kind. Everyone that spends time with my son falls in love with him. He's also well spoken for a 2-year-old. He even says hello and thank you often without being asked to do so. There have been several times that I've been frustrated with her because she's cancelled on me or changed the plan without telling me. For example, when my son was a few months old, she was going to come and take me shopping or something, while my husband spent some time canoeing with my father. She told me she would pick me up right after church in the morning. She decided, without telling me, that she would spend the morning with her husband and go to late church. So, I'm left with an infant who I'm not sure if I should put down for a nap because his grandma is supposed to be there to pick us up. My husband and I share a car. She later insisted it wasn't a big deal because she just changed the plan to accommodate her husband. She just didn't seem to understand that I didn't care what she did or even that she was late. I just find it rude to change plans or cancel without communicating or giving time to accommodate. She's often canceled a daycare day for my son while I was getting him ready to go in the car. Literally every time she's cancelled on me has been this short. This all kind of came to a boiling point this weekend. After 2 years of this, she had agreed to watch my son on Saturday so my husband and I could go to my aunt's 50th birthday party. I also had to go to a baby shower that same morning, which I was bringing my son to, and my husband had to work that morning. She sent me a text while I was at the baby shower. "Hi, I'm really sick with a severe cold and sore throat, so I can't talk. Do you want grandson around me? Also, if I get worse, I'm not sure I'll be able to watch him." I was again annoyed, but this was the first time that she gave me more than an hour's warning, so I just forwarded the text to my husband so he could see if his coworker, who has been asking to watch our son, was available. She was on vacation, so she was out. I got out of the baby shower after my husband had gotten off work. I needed a nap because I'm 33 weeks pregnant and have been exhausted. And his mother proceeds to call and yell at us for not calling her immediately to check and see how she's feeling. Then told us that of course she was still willing to watch him. Why would we assume she couldn't watch him? Then Monday, she texts me and requests that my son and I join her at daycare on Wednesday because she has Bible study Tuesday and Thursday. With it being 6 weeks until our next baby is due, I text her back saying that I didn't think I would be able to make it this week because I have a lot to do this week to get ready for the baby, so I need to be at home. I thought that was the end. She texts me back asking if my husband can just drop him off before work that day and pick him up afterwards. He works 12 to 8:30 p.m. I text her and let her know we should talk it through with him because we've both generally been thinking about not doing daycare Monday through Thursday because with that being his work schedule, it doesn't seem fair to our son. He goes to sleep there, but since she won't allow him to sleep over, we wake him up at around 11 to go home. After 2.5 hours, she sends me this passive-aggressive text. "So, is this a touchy decision about having husband drop off grandson tomorrow? I thought you'd be pleased at this offer." I didn't text back because I was busy taking care of my son while running errands all day. Like, I told her I had a lot to do. I didn't think that 2.5 hours was enough time to get upset like that. She even called my husband to check and see if I was okay. My husband then talked to her that night, and she went off the wall yelling at him. She talked about how we couldn't hold it against her that she got sick. We weren't even going to bring it up with her because people get sick. And sometimes she deserves time off. But she just kept yelling at my husband for things like, "Oh, and thanks for not calling your mother this weekend to see how she was feeling since you knew she was sick, and how hard she works for us while watching our son." And also that it's not that much extra work watching him now that he's 2 because he fits into her daycare. And how we don't appreciate how hard she works, and that we can't consider her an unreliable form of childcare. She only calls and cancels on me because I'm not working, so it's fine. So basically, from what my husband told me, she admitted that she knowingly cancels me without notice because she doesn't respect my time because I'm a stay-at-home mom. But I'm supposed to drop everything that I'm doing during the day to answer her every text and call because she doesn't think I'm doing anything all day. And he brought up that I help her whenever I do stay during her daycare. She said that that's what I owed her to say the least. Then brought up how we're not paying her for daycare. I just don't know what to do about the situation anymore. She has a tendency to throw temper tantrums whenever she doesn't get exactly her way. She will even do silent treatment as an adult to her adult children, which I don't feel is necessarily a healthy thing to do to resolve an issue. It just feels like emotional manipulation to me. But again, I would love some perspective and help. My mother thinks we should just not use her daycare services and make her realize that she's then missing time with her only grandchild. I just don't know what to do. I've never met someone who has shown that much disrespect to me and felt justified in it. I obviously don't want to cut her off from seeing my son, but I don't want him growing up with such negativity and feeling unwanted. So let me get this straight. While you were pregnant with your son, your mother-in-law would constantly say how lucky you guys were that you were gonna get free daycare. And then it turned into you becoming unpaid help whenever your son could go to the daycare because she would constantly cancel on you for various reasons, usually around right before daycare time. And the reason she's okay canceling on you short notice is because you're a stay-at-home mom, which of course means that you're sitting on your butt all day doing nothing. I'm not even gonna go near that part where she doesn't like newborns but couldn't wait to snatch him out of your hands to hold him and show people that she was holding him. That was just weird. I'd say your mom is right. Don't use her daycare services anymore. She clearly thinks or feels that she has some sort of control over you because your kid is going to her daycare. She's clearly wrong, and you should send that message. But like I said, that's just my opinion and it's been too long already. So, what do you guys think OP should do? In the meantime, why don't we move on with the update to see what she did? We had to cancel last Friday with my mother-in-law because she caught us off guard and I forgot we had plans with my mom to go and visit my grandfather with the grandbabies in their Halloween costumes. We told her we would drop our son off the next Friday. Turns out my grandfather was sent to the hospital with pneumonia Thursday night. We decided not to call her because it was late and we don't expect her to drop everything last minute for daycare. Maybe this was our mistake, but I feel like anything we would have done in this situation was wrong. Oh well. We then found out that my grandfather passed away on Halloween. It was very sudden and a shock to all of us. We hadn't heard from her for the rest of the week until we got an email from my husband's brother. It was one of the ugliest emails I've ever read. Basically, it said that we are horrible people that have been rude and unthankful to my in-laws ever since my son was born. He could tell because of our body language. Also, apparently, they've changed their plans around to suit us. News to me, considering we've gone out of our way to adjust to my mother-in-law's schedule. And apparently to her, we've entirely disowned her and have threatened to never allow her to see Nathan again. All of this was news to me. We tried calling all of them immediately to schedule a time to talk in person because this all has gotten out of hand. All of their phones rang 3 times before going to voicemail. Turns out, all 3 of them were at lunch together. My mother-in-law sent me a text saying that they were leaving lunch with my brother-in-law and wanted to do this talk in person. I responded and said I agree. 3 hours later, she said they were leaving my brother-in-law's place. It was 6:30 at the time and my son's bedtime is 7:30, so obviously this talk wasn't happening this weekend. I sent her a text last night asking when we should come over to talk. I have yet to get a response. I've been really upset this whole time, crying several times since the initial accusations, but I'm just not sure what I should do. I don't quite know what action to take. I don't think it's going to be feasible to completely cut them out, but boundaries need to be made, obviously. I just am definitely feeling like this has been more of a power play than genuine emotional upset on her part. Mostly because nobody has been contacting us to try and set a time to sit down and resolve this. I feel like she was really feeling like we disowned her. Wouldn't it be a priority to her to have anyone contact us and schedule a time to resolve this? Am I wrong? I'm just not sure what course of action to take to cause the least drama. My husband has been fuming about this and will support his family, me and my son, no matter what. OP, I think you're right. I think it is a power play. First, it was the daycare thing, holding it over you like some sort of control tool or whatever. But now I think she's just stirring up drama for the sake of drama. At no point did you disown her or refused her to ever see your son again. You were just thinking about using a different daycare. And like you say, if she actually wanted this whole issue to be resolved, she would work towards that, right? I would say just don't pay attention to her anymore and let her come to you. The good thing is, you've got your husband's support, which is the most important thing in this kind of situation. And the good news for us is that we have a short, final update that OP has given us. My mother-in-law finally texted me and wanted to schedule a time to talk things out. My husband and I have talked and decided this is really her last chance. It isn't really feasible for us to completely cut her out of our life, but if she's unwilling to accept anything we have to say, we're willing to go that route. Thank you all for your advice and support. We're going to try to stay strong with the facts and not get caught up in our gaslighting. We're also not going to talk without my father-in-law present. He has stuck up for us in the past during a situation where what we said was logical. We'll see how it goes, but honestly, I'm not going to get my hopes up that she'll listen. We're totally prepared to walk out for the long haul if we need to. It's become apparent that this has all just been a power play. Well, OP, I've already said all I have to say. I just hope you guys were able to solve it like adults, and if you had to walk out and cut contact, then so be it and move forward. All the best to you guys. Okay, so now let's move on to the next story. What would your reaction be if your significant other's mother called you and told you outright she doesn't like you and wants you to break up with your significant other? Well, this one's from user SoyMilksy. My 19 female boyfriend's 20 male mom asked me to break up with him. When I said no, she asked us never to see each other until the lockdown is over because she hopes we break up before then. I've been with my boyfriend for over a year and his mom hated me from the start. Keep in mind that we've never met in person and we talked for the first time a few days ago. She thinks I'm a bad influence on her son because I come from a poor and traumatic background and have no good family relations. Her opinion of me never got too much in the way until now, when I decided to live in the same city as my college and my boyfriend happens to live 20 miles away. My boyfriend lives with his mom because he's doing school online, lockdown. In July, I went from being 5,000 miles away from him to 60. When he asked his mom about visiting me in August, she was against it, but he decided to go against her will and see me for a week as we hadn't seen each other in person in 6 months. When he got back, his mom was depressed and angry and it affected his mental health badly. A few days ago, he asked his mom if he could visit me every other week once I moved into the new city. His mom then FaceTimed me asking me to break up with him because she doesn't like me. We had an hour-long conversation, but basically, she said she didn't want her son to be in a serious relationship because he's young. She's also said she sacrificed everything to come to the US so her son can get a good education, and she's disappointed that her son wound up with me. She gaslit me for most of the conversation, telling me to think of her, saying that I am impulsive and irresponsible for moving to a new apartment, and then using the lockdown as an excuse for me being selfish about wanting to see her son. I say excuse because she asked us not to see each other until the lockdown was over, and I asked her if it was because she was worried for her son's health or if it was because she didn't like me. She then said, "Truthfully, it's because I want you to break up." My boyfriend intends to listen to his mom about not seeing me and believes that is the best scenario. His mom will be happy and we can still date. He doesn't want to go through seeing his mom depressed again because he defied her last time. He is optimistic about finding some way around it so we can at least see each other in the spring. Even so, I don't realistically expect to see him until maybe summer, and that's on really limited terms because his mom truly dislikes me. I don't know if I can go through living so close to him but not being allowed to see him for 7+ months. For context, my boyfriend is really close to his mom and they've really only had each other for most of their lives. She's single and divorced twice, I believe, and my boyfriend has said that her happiness depends on him, so he's pretty conflicted as well. I will probably send this post over to him so he can see the replies. So, what should I do? What are my options? I'm not sure if I should stand by my boyfriend's decision, keep fighting to see him, find a different compromise, or walk away. Edit. For all those asking, they're Korean. So that's the setup. What do you think OP should do? And while you think about that, let's continue with the update right away. I showed my boyfriend the post and he clarified a few things for me. 1. His mom has never interfered with his personal life until me. She believes that you can look at a person's background, especially their mistakes or flaws, and judge whether they're good or bad. Because my dad is in prison and my mom had me as a teenager, his mom truly believes I will ruin his life. 2. He didn't ask his mom to visit me, but told her. After showing him the post, we had a talk about where our relationship was going in the future. It seemed the general consensus that his relationship with his mom is unhealthy really got through to him. I voiced my concerns about not seeing him, as well as what this issue would look like for when we decide to live together. We have plans for the summer. He told me he just wants to keep the peace at home and was thinking long term. I told him we have to think about our happiness now because I wasn't sure how long I could wait. After a few moments of silence, he decided that he would see me every other week like we planned. He couldn't let his mom interfere this much. He had to stop being so afraid of what she would say, forsaking his actual wants. Later that night, he told his mom that while he respected her, he will visit me. His mom was angry, talked about how much she hated me, and adamantly told him to just leave and move in with me. He wasn't sure if she was serious, but the next morning she continued to tell him to pack up and leave. It seemed to him that his mom had a change of heart by the time he was out the door, but he left anyway. Now he is with me at my apartment and found a place to live about a 20-minute walk away. We had another serious conversation about the direction we were headed from here and made plans to move in together in the spring. He believes he permanently altered his relationship with his mom, but doesn't regret his choice and hopes that things will improve in the next few years. We've begun to talk about boundaries when it comes to his mom and how I can be protected in the future. Well, OP, I've gotta say, for just being 20 years old, he has shown more spine than many other men I've read about on these videos. Seems like your boyfriend's mom tried to bluff him into staying and he called her bluff, and that was it. So I guess all there's to say is all the best to you guys. Hopefully, if you guys do make it in the long haul, your mother-in-law will have a change of heart and want to get to know you and maybe even love you someday. What do you guys think about this whole thing? And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you guys liked it. If you did, go ahead and click like. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Also, here are more videos from my channel that you might enjoy. And having said all that, I will see you guys on the next video.